Picture this moment. You're in a meeting at work and someone takes credit for your idea. They present it like it's theirs, and everyone nods in approval. You feel your chest tighten. Your jaw clenches. You know you should say something, but you don't. You stay quiet. You tell yourself it's not worth the confrontation. Or maybe you're at dinner with your family, and someone makes a disrespectful comment about you, disguised as a joke. Everyone laughs. You feel the sting, but you force a smile. You swallow your words. You convince yourself that speaking up would make things awkward. Or perhaps someone crosses a boundary you've set. They show up late, break a promise, or treat you like your time doesn't matter. And once again, you say nothing. You let it slide. You rationalize it as being understanding, being mature, being the bigger person. But here's what's really happening. You're not being mature. You're being weak. And I don't say that to insult you. I say it because it's the truth that most men refuse to admit. The truth that Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and Seneca understood 2,000 years ago. The truth that separates weak men from strong men. Weak men stay silent when they should speak. They avoid confrontation. They hide behind politeness, niceness, and the desire to keep everyone comfortable. They convince themselves that silence is wisdom, that staying quiet is strength. But it's not. It's cowardice wearing a mask. Strong men, on the other hand, understand something that weak men don't. They know when to speak and when to stay silent. They know that words have weight and silence has power. But most importantly, they know that staying quiet when you should speak isn't peace. It's surrender. Today, we're going deep into Stoic philosophy to uncover the truth about masculine communication. Not the loud, aggressive, ego-driven talking that insecure men do. And not the passive, people-pleasing silence that weak men hide behind. We're talking about the controlled, intentional, powerful use of words and silence that commands respect, sets boundaries, and builds unshakable masculine strength. If you've ever stayed quiet when you should have spoken, if you've ever let someone disrespect you because confrontation felt uncomfortable, if you've ever wondered why people don't take you seriously, this video will change everything. Before we begin, do me one favor. Hit that subscribe button right now because what you're about to learn isn't just philosophy. It's a blueprint for masculine power that most men will never discover. And turn on notifications, because this channel is dedicated to building men who refuse to be walked over. Let's begin. Understanding the difference. Let's be clear about something from the start. This isn't about being loud. This isn't about being aggressive. This isn't about dominating conversations or proving you're the alpha in the room. That's what insecure men do. That's weakness disguised as strength. The Stoics understood that true masculine power isn't about volume. It's about precision. It's about knowing when your words will create respect and when your silence will command it. Marcus Aurelius, the most powerful man in Rome, wrote in his Meditations, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." But here's what most people miss about that quote. He's not saying you have no power over external situations. He's saying your power comes from within, from your ability to choose your response. And sometimes the most powerful response is speaking when others expect silence, and staying silent when others expect you to react. Let me break down the difference between weak men and strong men when it comes to communication. Weak men stay silent because they fear confrontation. They're afraid of being disliked. They don't believe their voice matters. They want to avoid responsibility. They think silence will make problems disappear. They're paralyzed by social anxiety. They believe keeping peace means accepting disrespect. Strong men choose silence because they know words without weight are worthless. They understand some situations don't deserve their energy. They recognize that silence can be more powerful than words. They're strategically conserving their authority. They refuse to engage with people beneath their standards. They're observing before acting. They know that not every provocation requires a response. See the difference? Weak men are controlled by fear. Strong men are controlled by choice. And here's the critical part. Strong men also know when to speak. Not from emotion, not from ego, but from principle. Epictetus, who was born a slave and became one of the greatest philosophers, taught, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." He understood that your response, whether words or silence, is where your power lives. Weak men react. Strong men respond. There's a massive difference. Weak men speak because they're reacting emotionally. They want to prove themselves. They need validation. They're defending their ego. They're filling silence with nervous words. They're seeking approval. They're trying to be liked. Strong men speak because they're setting a boundary. They're correcting disrespect. They're protecting their values. They're providing necessary guidance. They're standing for what's right. They're taking leadership. They're making their position clear. The difference is intention. Weak men communicate from insecurity. Strong men communicate from certainty. And here's what makes this Stoic approach to masculine communication so powerful. It's not about always speaking or always staying silent. It's about knowing which one serves your strength in each moment. That discernment, that wisdom to know the difference, that's what we're building today. Hashtag when weak men stay silent. Let's talk about the situations where staying silent reveals weakness. Where your silence isn't strategic, it's surrender. Situation 1. When someone disrespects you directly. A coworker makes a joke at your expense in front of others. Your friend insults you, then claims they're just joking. Someone talks down to you like you're beneath them. Weak men laugh it off. They pretend it doesn't bother them. They convince themselves that responding would make them look sensitive or unable to take a joke. But here's the truth. When you let disrespect slide, you're teaching people how to treat you. You're training them that your dignity has no price, that your self-respect is negotiable. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Reject your sense of injury and the injury itself disappears." But he's not saying accept the injury. He's saying don't let it define you emotionally. Respond to it, set the boundary, then release it mentally. That's strength. The strong response? Address it immediately, not with anger, not with aggression, but with clarity. That's not how you speak to me. Let's keep things respectful. Then move on. You've set the boundary without making it emotional. Situation 2. When someone takes credit for your work. You worked hard on something, and someone else presents it as theirs. This happens in careers, in business, in collaborative projects. Weak men stay quiet. They think, at least the work got done. Does it really matter who gets credit? They rationalize their silence as being humble, as being team-oriented. But that's not humility. That's allowing yourself to be exploited. The Stoics believed in justice as a core virtue. Seneca wrote, "Let us not be satisfied with merely avoiding injustice. Let us claim what is rightfully ours." The strong response? Correct the record publicly and immediately. I appreciate you presenting this, but I need to clarify. This was my project. I'm glad it's being recognized, and I'd like to walk through my process. You're not being arrogant. You're protecting your value and setting a precedent that you won't be taken advantage of. Situation 3. When someone crosses a boundary you've set. You told someone not to do something. They did it anyway. Maybe they show up at your house unannounced after you asked them not to. Maybe they bring up topics you said were off limits. Maybe they continue behaviors you've clearly stated make you uncomfortable. Weak men let it go. Maybe they forgot. Maybe they didn't mean it. Maybe I'm being too sensitive. They move the boundary, making exceptions, teaching people that their words don't mean anything. The strong response? Immediate, calm enforcement. I told you I'm not available without notice. Please leave and call next time. Or, I've made it clear this topic is off limits. We're done talking if you continue. No anger. No lengthy explanation. Just enforcement. Boundaries without consequences aren't boundaries. They're suggestions. Situation 4. When you're treated like you don't matter. Someone keeps you waiting without apology. They cancel plans last minute repeatedly. They ignore your calls but expect you to answer theirs immediately. They treat your time like it's worthless. Weak men accept this treatment. They tell themselves, people are busy. It's not a big deal. I don't want to seem demanding. But here's what's actually happening. You're accepting the role of someone whose time, energy, and presence don't matter. Epictetus taught, know, first, who you are, and then adorn yourself accordingly. Know that you're a man whose time has value. Then act accordingly. The strong response? Stop being available to people who don't respect your availability. You've canceled on me 3 times. I'm not making plans with you again until you demonstrate that you value my time. Then follow through. Your actions have to match your words, or neither means anything. Situation 5. When your values are being attacked. Someone mocks what you believe in. They ridicule your principles, your faith, your standards. They try to make you feel stupid for standing for something. Weak men either stay silent or apologize for their beliefs. They minimize what they stand for, hoping to avoid conflict. But the Stoics believed that living according to your values is the only path to a meaningful life. Marcus Aurelius wrote, waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. The strong response? Unapologetic clarity. I know where I stand. You're free to disagree, but I'm not debating my values with you. Then disengage. You're not convincing them. You're not defending yourself. You're simply making it clear that your principles aren't up for discussion. Situation 6. When someone needs to hear a hard truth. A friend is making destructive choices. A family member is heading toward disaster. Someone you care about needs honest feedback that will sting. Weak men stay silent. They tell themselves, it's not my place. They wouldn't listen anyway. I don't want to hurt their feelings. But sometimes silence isn't kindness. It's cowardice. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is tell someone a truth they don't want to hear. Seneca wrote, one of the most beautiful qualities of true friendship is to understand and to be understood. Real relationships can handle truth. If your silence is protecting a relationship that can't handle honesty, you don't have a real relationship, you have an agreement to lie to each other. The strong response? Speak the truth with love but without apology. I care about you too much to watch you do this without saying something. This is destructive, and you need to hear that from someone who actually wants the best for you. They might get angry. They might reject your words. That's their choice. Your responsibility is to speak the truth, not control how they receive it. Situation 7. When leadership demands your voice. You're in a position where others are looking to you for direction, for clarity, for guidance. Your family needs leadership. Your team needs direction. Your children need a father who speaks truth. Weak men default to silence. They say, I don't want to be controlling. I don't want to impose my views. Everyone should figure things out themselves. But that's not leadership. That's abandonment dressed up as respect for autonomy. The Stoics believed that men have a responsibility to lead, to guide, to set the tone. Marcus Aurelius, as emperor, couldn't stay silent when Rome needed direction. The strong response? Step into leadership even when it's uncomfortable. Especially when it's uncomfortable. Here's what we're doing and why. I'm open to input, but someone has to make the decision, and I'm taking that responsibility. Strong men don't hide from leadership. They embrace it. These 7 situations reveal the truth. Weak men stay silent because they're afraid. Afraid of conflict, afraid of responsibility, afraid of being disliked. Strong men speak because they understand that silence in these moments isn't peace. It's surrender. ## when strong men stay silent. Now let's talk about the other side. The situations where silence is power, where speaking would be weakness, where the strong choice is to say nothing. Situation 1. When someone is trying to provoke you, they're looking for a reaction. They're throwing insults, making accusations, trying to get you emotional. They want to see you lose control. Weak men take the bait. They engage, they defend, they fight back emotionally. They think they're being strong, but they're actually being controlled. Strong men recognize the game and refuse to play. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." The strong response? Nothing. Zero reaction. You look at them calmly, maybe even with slight amusement, then continue as if they didn't speak. Your silence communicates something powerful. You're not important enough to disturb my peace. That kills their power instantly, because the only power provocateurs have is your reaction. Without it, they're powerless. Situation 2. When you're angry or emotional, you're furious. You want to say things that will hurt. In that moment, your words feel justified, righteous, necessary. This is when weak men speak. They say things they can't take back. They escalate situations unnecessarily. They confuse emotional venting with strength. Epictetus taught, "It is impossible for a man to learn what he thinks he already knows." When you're emotional, you think you know everything. You think you see clearly, but emotion is a fog. The strong response? Silence until the storm passes. I need time to think about this. We'll talk when I'm calm. Then actually wait until you're calm. Strong men don't make decisions, don't have crucial conversations, and don't exercise their voice when their emotions are in control. They wait until their reason returns. Situation 3. When explaining won't change anything. You could explain yourself. You could justify your decision. You could break down all your reasoning. But you know it won't matter. The other person has already decided. They're not seeking understanding. They're seeking ammunition for their argument. Weak men explain anyway. They over-explain, they justify, they try desperately to be understood. They think if they just find the right words, the other person will finally get it. But Seneca knew, it is the power of the mind to be unconquerable. You don't need their understanding to be right. You don't need their approval to make the correct decision. The strong response? I've made my decision. Period. No justification. No defense. No explanation. Your decision doesn't require their approval. Your silence on the subject is actually a statement of strength. Situation 4. When silence serves a strategic purpose. You're in a negotiation, or a tense conversation, or a moment where revealing your position would weaken it. Weak men fill every silence. They're uncomfortable with quiet, so they keep talking, often revealing more than they should. They negotiate against themselves because silence makes them nervous. Strong men understand that silence makes others nervous, and nervous people reveal information. Marcus Aurelius practiced this daily in Roman politics. The strong response? Let the silence sit. Don't fill it. When someone makes an offer, stay quiet for a few seconds. Watch them squirm. Watch them often improve their own offer just to break the silence. Silence is a negotiating superpower that weak men never develop because they're too uncomfortable to use it. Situation 5. When someone is destroying themselves. You've warned them. You've spoken truth. You've offered help. They rejected it all and chose their destructive path. Weak men keep talking. They keep explaining, keep warning, keep trying to save someone who doesn't want to be saved. They exhaust themselves trying to rescue people from choices they're committed to making. But the Stoics understood something crucial. Epictetus said, "Some things are in our control and others not. Someone else's self-destruction is not in your control." The strong response? After you've spoken truth once or twice, silence. You step back. You watch them face the consequences of their choices. Your silence isn't cruelty. It's recognizing that some people only learn through pain. You stay silent not because you don't care, but because you care enough to let them learn their own lessons. Situation 6. When you're observing and learning. You're in a new situation. New job, new environment, new group of people. You don't fully understand the dynamics yet. Weak men speak anyway. They share opinions they haven't fully formed. They position themselves before understanding the position. They talk because silence feels like invisibility. But the Stoics were obsessive observers. Before acting, they watched. Before speaking, they listened. Before judging, they understood. The strong response? Strategic silence. You observe. You listen. You learn the patterns, the personalities, the power dynamics. You speak when you actually have something valuable to say, not just to be heard. People respect the man who speaks rarely but meaningfully more than the man who speaks constantly but says nothing. Situation 7. When your absence will teach more than your presence. Someone takes you for granted. They expect your help, your attention, your energy as if it's owed to them. Words haven't changed this dynamic. Weak men keep talking. They explain their feelings, express their frustration, ask for change. But nothing changes because their words aren't backed by action. Strong men understand something powerful. Seneca wrote, "We should every night call ourselves to an account. What infirmity have I mastered today? What passions opposed? What temptation resisted?" Sometimes the only way people learn your value is by experiencing your absence. The strong response? Silent withdrawal. No explanation. No emotional goodbye. You simply become less available. You stop offering what they took for granted. Your silence and absence become the teacher. When they ask what changed, your response is simple. Nothing changed. This is just what it looks like when I stop overextending myself. Your silence isn't punishment. It's you recognizing that some people only appreciate water after the well runs dry. These 7 situations show the truth. Strong men stay silent not from fear, but from strategy. Not from weakness, but from wisdom. Not from inability to speak, but from knowing that silence often speaks louder than words. #the Stoic Framework. So how do you know which one to choose? When do you speak and when do you stay silent? The Stoics gave us a framework. It's not complicated, but it requires something most men lack: self-awareness and honesty. Before you speak or stay silent, ask yourself these 4 questions. Question 1. Am I reacting or responding? Reactions are emotional, immediate, unfiltered. Responses are thoughtful, intentional, controlled. If you feel the urge to speak immediately, to say something right now, that's usually a reaction. And reactions usually come from ego, from emotion, from insecurity. Marcus Aurelius taught himself to pause. Between stimulus and response, he created space. In that space, he found his power. The rule: if your words are coming from emotion, stay silent until you can respond from reason. Question 2. What am I trying to accomplish? Are you speaking to set a boundary, correct an injustice, provide guidance, or protect a value? Or are you speaking to prove yourself, get validation, win an argument, or feel important? The first set of reasons are strong. The second set are weak. Epictetus was brutal about this. He said most of our words serve our ego, not our principles. Most of our speaking is performance, not communication. The rule: if your words serve your ego, stay silent. If they serve your values, speak. Question 3. Will this matter tomorrow? Next week? Next year? ***. So much of what triggers us to speak is temporary. Someone's mood, a small slight, a minor annoyance. The Stoics practiced the view from above. They imagined looking at their situation from high above, seeing how small it actually was in the scope of life. Most things that make us want to speak don't matter. They're temporary irritations that we give permanent importance to through our words. The rule: if it won't matter next week, don't give it your words today. Question 4. Am I acting from strength or fear? This is the ultimate question. Am I speaking because I'm strong enough to say difficult things? Or because I'm afraid of silence, afraid of being disliked, afraid of confrontation? Am I staying silent because I'm wise enough to conserve my power? Or because I'm afraid to speak, afraid of conflict, afraid of standing out? Building the practice. This isn't just philosophy to think about. This is practice to implement. Here's how you build the ability to speak powerfully and stay silent strategically. Practice 1. The 24-hour rule. For the next month, implement this rule. When something triggers you to want to speak emotionally, wait 24 hours. Not forever. Not avoiding it. Just 24 hours. Write down what you want to say. Get it all out on paper. Then sit with it for a day. After 24 hours, read what you wrote. 80% of the time, you'll either laugh at how emotional it was, or you'll find a much better way to say it. 20% of the time, it'll still be exactly what needs to be said, and now you can say it from strength instead of emotion. Marcus Aurelius practiced this daily. He would write his angry thoughts in his journal, then never speak them. The writing released the emotion. The silence preserved his power. Practice 2. The 3-time rule. Before you speak up about someone's behavior, notice it 3 times. The first time might be an accident. The second time might be coincidence. The third time is a pattern. Weak men speak up at the first slight. They're hypervigilant, always on guard, always ready to defend. This makes them exhausting to be around. Strong men observe patterns before acting. They don't waste words on accidents. They save their voice for patterns that need addressing. When you do speak after the third time, your words carry weight because they're backed by observation, not reaction. Practice 3. The 1-sentence rule. When you do need to speak, practice saying what you need in one clear sentence. Then stop. Weak men over-explain. They justify. They keep talking until they dilute their point. Strong men say what needs saying, then stop. The silence after a clear statement is more powerful than 10 minutes of explanation. Examples. That's not acceptable. I need you to respect my time. We're not discussing this again. That behavior stops now. 1 sentence. Then silence. Let them sit with it. Don't fill the space. Epictetus taught his students to speak with economy. Every word should carry weight. If you can say it in 3 words instead of 30, do it. Practice 4. The strategic silence practice. Once a day, practice staying silent in a situation where you'd normally speak. Not in important moments. In small moments. When someone asks your opinion on something trivial. When there's a silence in a conversation. When someone's telling a story and you have a similar one. Just stay quiet. Observe what happens. Notice how uncomfortable it might feel. Notice how often people fill your silence. This practice builds comfort with silence. It trains you to not need to fill every gap with words. Over time, this makes your silence in important moments much more natural and powerful. #conclusion. So here we are. You now understand the difference between weak men and strong men when it comes to speaking and staying silent. Weak men stay silent from fear and speak from ego. Strong men stay silent from strategy and speak from principle. Weak men let themselves be disrespected, walked over, and taken for granted. Strong men set boundaries, demand respect, and protect their dignity. Weak men think politeness means accepting disrespect. Strong men know that respect and kindness aren't enemies. Weakness and niceness are. The Stoics taught us something that most modern men have forgotten. You are responsible for how people treat you. Not because you cause their behavior, but because you teach people how to treat you through what you accept. Every time you stay silent when you should speak, you teach people that your boundaries are negotiable. Every time you speak from emotion instead of principle, you teach people that your words don't carry weight. But every time you speak from strength, you teach people to take you seriously. Every time you stay strategically silent, you teach people that you're not reactive, you're intentional. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire by mastering this balance. Epictetus, who owned nothing, commanded respect through this wisdom. Seneca advised emperors using these principles. You're not an emperor, but you can use the same philosophy to command respect in your work, your relationships, your family, and your life. Starts today. With one choice. The next time someone disrespects you, speaks. The next time someone tries to provoke you, stay silent. The next time you feel the urge to over-explain yourself, stop. One choice at a time, you transform from a weak man who's controlled by circumstances into a strong man who commands respect through intentional communication. If this video resonated with you, if you're ready to stop being walked over and start commanding respect, hit that like button right now. Share this with a man who needs to hear it. Subscribe to this channel because we're building an army of men who refuse to be weak, who embrace Stoic principles, and who understand that real masculine power is controlled, intentional, and unshakable. Drop a comment telling me which practice you're starting with. Are you implementing the 24-hour rule? The one-sentence rule? The boundary-setting practice? Let me know because your commitment matters. Remember, weak men stay silent when they should speak and speak when they should stay silent. Strong men master both. They know when words serve their power and when silence does. You now have the framework. You have the practices. You have the Stoic wisdom that's guided strong men for 2 millennia. The only question left is, will you use it, or will you stay weak, hoping things magically change while you keep accepting disrespect and staying silent? The choice is yours. Choose strength. Choose respect. Choose to speak when it matters and stay silent when it serves you. I'll see you in the next video. Stay strong, warrior.